good morning, and welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, and Disembodied Hands, Quindy, Disembodied Beard, John, and everybody. Hey, Polly. Polly with the first hello. Yes, starting. Oh, hey there, Wolfgrave. Is Twitch being twitchy today? Should I be forewarned? Yes. How are you all? It's very hot now today. It's supposed to hit 90 here. So I've already closed up the house to keep it more nice for Papa and I. There comes a point when it's like 70 degrees at 9:30 where you're like, okay, we're just going to close everything up. There's no benefit to keeping the windows open anymore. There you go. Sorry, just taking some stuff and getting it out of my way so that I can focus on new model today. Hey, wow, 5+ years. Indeed, you just hit the plus. I'm so sad I didn't get to sing your quintuple-versary. I don't think I've sung a quintuple-versary, actually. Going to rain. You guys are all getting rain. We wish we got rain. We're in the dry season. This is the season where we're like, if we get a cloudy day, it doesn't rain. And the cloudy days are infrequent, and mostly it's sunny every day. All right. Well, you're permitted to, normally Quindy catches those too. But you're permitted to, like, to remind me when that happens. However, we can open with a quintuple-versary. We can. Can we? Happy quintuple-versary, quintuple subversary, quintuple subversary, happy quintuple subversary. I have to go so slow because I'm like unaccustomed to the word. Hailstones, random weather. Yeah, you rolled a double lot on the random weather encounter tables. Nice. All right, I have my lotion on today. I have to laugh because Kiki is a lotion licker. She's convinced if it smells like food, it must be food, even if it's lotion. She doesn't pay attention to the fact that when she licks it, it does not taste like food. She's convinced. She's like the Siberian Husky meme, licking the picture of bacon on the TV. Seriously. So she is always like, hey, you smell great. Can I lick you and lick all the lotion off your hands? No. Silly dog. Yeah, if it warrants a song, do point it out. That's like I said. Because we are distracted. I'm painting and chatting, and Quindy is working and like keeping half an eyeball on the chat. So yeah. Hey, 5 years is 5 years, Jedi Jared. All right, so I want to see here. Yeah, she's got pants on. All right, so that means our skin is really the neck, the face, and the arms with those awesome biceps that I want. I want those biceps. I do. It's why my diet has become very, very stripped down lately. Yeah. All right. So I like to start with an olive color for skin. Troll flesh is a great one to start with because you can, lighten it as you need. Where's my troll hide? There it is. Troll hide from Bones. Oh, that's Orc. I don't want Orc. Troll hide from Bones Dungeon Dwellers box set is, I think, pretty much my go-to if I need an olive green these days. It's a good balanced middle olive green. It's got a lot of intensity to it. You always want to start with more saturation on stuff like this because you can always desaturate. Desaturating this is easy. If you need to mute it, you can. But you can't add intensity very easily. And so starting with something that has some pop to it is beneficial, and something that has some transparency as well, which, most of this color does. It's got some earth tones in it, so it does have decent coverage, but it doesn't have white is more the point. There are also greens in the Pathfinder line that could make really good, muted green tones. We could also start with meadow green, although that's a little more green. And I tend to kind of like play down the green in my half-orcs. Orcs are a different matter, but half-orcs, I think, I like to give something where it's a greenish tone, but it's not like a really hefty green. But you could do this, and you could add in maybe some brown, and you'd be okay. Highlight colors like Boggart green, Medusa green are lighter greens that are very unique in the Pathfinder line, that are muted, that can be used for highlighting these kind of things if you don't want to mix your own highlights. Let's see, do I have anything else in here? Don't think so. So we'll start with Trollhide. And I think one thing I'm going to do, because I want to put rosy tones in the skin, this is something also that we've done before with Half-Orc Mage. It's been a long time since we painted a Half-Orc, so I'm going to just go over everything here. Let's see, there's our corner. Excellent. But so we'll do some quick mixing. I want to determine what I'm going to use for my rosy tones. I usually go with magenta instead of a red, but you could use a red if you wanted to. But I want to kind of mix these together and see what they make. And then I'll just take this well and turn it into a well of liner so that I won't. Nice smallish same. Ah, bubbly. It's very bubbly, but it's mixed, so we'll just take a nice big bubbly drop of that. My shoulders were messed up this morning. I actually had to get on the foam roller before stream to make them relax. I was doing I knew I was in trouble because I did my cat cows in the morning. I do my 10-minute yoga routine that helps me get through the day, and my cat cows actually caused a muscle spasm because I did them a little too fast. And I was just like, oh God, it's going to be this kind of morning. Because, of course, shoulders, here we are hunched over painting, right? Shoulders are the weak link. So just taking a Kleenex and cleaning off my paint aperture. Sometimes when you've got a lot of paint caked around here, it helps to just kind of keep it clear. I want to see what happens when I mix my magenta just straight up with my olive. Now, my guess is we're going to get a kind of a yellowy brownish color. And the reason I say that is because I know that Troll Flesh has a lot of yellow in it, even though it also has black and green. We're mixing complements together, so we're going to get something on the line of a brown or a gray. But since this has a lot of yellow and that is red, I'm going to say that it's going to be a muted orangey color, which is going to be a brown. So let's see. Okay, that's actually good. So what I'm looking for here when I'm doing this is I don't want to see anything muddy. Like, I don't want it to go gray. If I'm trying to make a kind of a skin tone that blends from green to rose, then I want to know that I can get, a decent color that's not too washed out. Yeah, I think this is going to transition just fine. It's going back and forth over the line pretty easily. If I really dialed this in, I could get it even more brown than that. But, yeah, so I think that... Oh no, Gremlins. One of the 80s movies that I just wasn't that into. I'm going to just pop this in. So I just wanted to mix that back and forth and make sure that it didn't turn really ugly. But really, it kind of shifts back and forth between the magenta and the Troll Flesh really effortlessly. And it gave me kind of a brownish color here. So that's good. I can work with it because since I'm working with olives, I don't care if I get a little bit of a brown tone. And since she's a half-orc especially, having a brown in between, like if I get a little bit of brown hinted in between my green and my rose colors, that's actually fine skin tone wise. So I just didn't want it to go gray. So sometimes if you're doing non-human skin tones and you're thinking about putting rosy tones or something like it into the mix, it helps to like mix those two colors directly and see what they give you. And if they really clash or give you a horrible grayish muck color, then you don't want to do it. Sorry, Thormel. There are many 80s movies, classic 80s movies that I absolutely love and have watched over and over and over, but that's not one of them. If I had to, was Gremlin Spielberg? I don't even remember. But essentially, the Gremlins reminded me too much of monkeys, evil monkeys, or fluffy good monkeys, and I never was into monkeys. Spielberg produced, yeah. Yeah, there are so many other like Spielbergs that I much prefer. So it's a person. It's a thing. Like my favorite Spielberg period is Raiders of the Lost Ark. All right, so now I know that this brown is going to be just fine. I'm going to actually turn this into my liner color by adding a little bit brown liner to it. Assuming my brown liner... Everything wants to clog today. It's like... Oh, what's Gremlins? Right, it's like produced, you know, who produced it rather than directed it. I didn't think the Spielberg directed it, but... It feels like a Spielberg movie, but then a lot of 80s movies feel like that. Either way, they were too monkey-like, and I don't like... Like, if they had been more animal-like, I would have been into it. As a kid, though, I really did not like humanoid-type monsters. They were not my thing. I didn't enjoy E.T. either. Like, E.T.'s an okay movie and all, but I did not like E.T. himself. It was not my big 80s movie. Oh, I love Ghostbusters. I can watch Ghostbusters again and again and again. And I can watch Raiders. You know, I think Raiders of the Lost Ark also very much an 80s movie. But Ghostbusters is my canon. Like, I do love it. Quintessential 80s movie. But some people don't like Bill Murray, so that's fair, you know? Alrighty, mix, 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 mix. And we've totally wiped out that brown, and we're using it as a base for our liner now. So that's not a wasted paint color. Yeah, Neverending Story, I like the book a little better, but that's like usual. Oh, nice, Quindy. Alrighty. Yeah, Neverending Story, the book, like, right, obviously right up my alley, right? Fantasy, fairy tale, adventure, except with a new mythology. But there are plenty of things that are familiar in it. All right. I'm going to mix up my skin tone. It's very, very much of its time. It is true. But you know what? You run into that with every like great movies of almost every decade. You're going to run into that, right? The thing is that if you're from that time, yeah, I've definitely got bubbly troll flesh. That would normally be a gross thing to think about, but you know. All right. I want to lighten this a little bit and warm it up. I need to maybe reach for did I put away my gnome flesh? Gnome flesh? Yeah. I'm actually going to add a skin tone to this. This is something that I do to mute my Half-Orc skin tones a lot. It makes sense. Using a color I would normally use for a full orc, and instead mixing in some like regular, like more usual human skin tone. You could use a brown. You could use like this, this is a pinkish Caucasian tone. You could use a tanned skin or a darker tan skin. The only thing that probably wouldn't be as successful as a really fair skin. It would really just bleach out this color, but you could try it. It's likely the way that you are right now. Yay, Ghostbusters fans unite! Boop! Fist bump. Alright, so I'm going to start with just a couple of drops of this gnome flesh into the troll. So it's like a 2-to-1. I want to see what it turns into. Oh, you're super decent. Yeah, and I'm not. Yep. I did not watch much TV as a kid. Yeah, that's a nice green. That's a very nice green to start with. I like this green. It's actually pretty beautiful. It's a muted green. So what is happening here is that the white and the yellow in the skin tone are lightening our original troll hide color. But the pink in the skin tone is also muting it a little bit. So apart from that, I'm totally normal. I don't know about that, Gurnico. Okay, this is going to be our base. We can shade with some troll hide or troll hide mixed with brown. We can highlight by adding maybe skin tone and white or skin tone yellow and white. But we're going to start blocking in our skin with this color. Hey, Masara, thank you. Thank you for that sub 52 months. That's pretty cool. Good job. Thank you. We appreciate it. There is no normal. Everybody's plotted on a graph. I'm sure that someone is like, I feel like there was a connection like right here. Like an actual support right there, and the eye is just a little bit wonky because of it. But you know what? We'll just persevere. So I'm going to go over everything, all the features. And I like to start, remember, on the dark side of things. So we're definitely starting like with a darker skin tone that we're then going to bring up considerably. We're going to green everything to start with, even if I'm later going to bring it up more pink like the ears here. Yeah, Last Unicorn is wonderful. It's just a shame that they screwed over the author. Peter S. Beagle got kind of... essentially doesn't get a cent from that movie. It has lessened my enjoyment of it just a little bit. I do reread the book every once in a while. Yeah, it is. Because he's like an old guy, and he's like, he honestly probably could use the money. I saw him at a Renaissance Fair appearance. But yeah, I don't know what the whole story about it is. I don't remember. Obviously his efforts to like take it to court or whatever have not panned out, which makes me think maybe he just unknowingly signed a very bad contract. Which sometimes happens. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just sad, though. Okay. let's get this. I got most of those struts off last night when I was cleaning this, and I think I just missed a tiny bit. There. And remember also that when you're mixing paint like this, when it's wet, it looks more saturated. I'm going to be doing my next video for YouTube for this month, which you guys get early access to. Is going to be just a basic survey of paint mixing tips, and that's one of them. That when your paint is wet, it looks brighter, it looks more vivid, more saturated. Remember that when it dries, it is probably going to become just a little darker, often anyway. And more muted. So there, you get one of my YouTube tips free. Hello, seriously. Yeah, now that I'm just doing like one video a month for YouTube, you guys get it pretty much a month in advance. I don't make the YouTube video available until I put the next one up, so. Does she have, just kind of looking at, I think she does have, her glove actually goes all the way up, and so only her fingertips. She's wearing a glove over most of her hand. Alrighty. He got the rights back in a court case a couple of years ago. Finally! Like, when I met him, like, almost, like, it would be over 20, it was probably about 20 years ago. Over 20 years ago. They were still fighting it, and they had been fighting it. So, like, it took him that long. I'm so happy he's got it back, though. I hope he can turn it around and make something of it. I hope that it's helping him. He's a really nice guy. He's like your grandpa. Like, when you meet him, he's just like, he says such pleasant things. Like, he reminded me of my grandpa. And I was really sad about the whole thing. So yeah, that's happy. Thanks for looking that up, Quindy. That makes me happy. The world is a slightly better place now. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was a long, like, and you know, and he's not made of money. I mean, he's a senior citizen. And he hasn't had, like, although he has had other books that people read, none of them were the huge success that Last Unicorn was. He did some writing for TV over the years. When I was a kid, there was an obscure cartoon on that I actually really loved, which explains why now that I know that he wrote it. It was essentially like magical horses. And I noticed he had a credit for the writing of the script. But yeah, I'm just glad he's got it back. Yay! I hope he's able to capitalize on that. All right, so I'm afraid you've got dragons. All right. That sounds cute. Is he writing for kids or is he writing for adults these days? It sounds like a kid's book, but nice. Hadn't published it due to legal battles, right? Well, good for him. Like, seriously good. I will go check it out. Arrogance White is a great name for a paint. Alright, so I'm going to I thinned my paint a bit. Sometimes if I put a pretty thick coat on, it's a little patchy. So this is what happened. Here, I'll show you guys. So I kept my paint a little thicker, and you can see that I've got some patchiness. See on the shoulder there? Where you can see the variance in tones? That doesn't happen during my normal base coat, and the reason is that I didn't thin this to the level I usually thin my paint. So when that happens, let's do fantasy. Okay, cool. I'll check it out. But when you get this, just thin down your base coat. Actually, I thinned it even more than a 4:1. Like it's probably more like a 3:1 right now. It's like that. And then I go over the top again. So I don't use the thick base coat again to go over the top. I use something that's going to self-level and smooth out those tones. So I'm going to do another coat. And that's going to even out all that. Also, I missed her fingertips. They were buried down there. It's really good that all that drama over Unicorn didn't make him stop writing. Because some people it would. So putting that thin coat down. Going to help to smooth out the patchiness that we had. And that's the problem, right? Yeah, because like I said, all of his other books haven't had the commercial success of Unicorn. And that can happen to an author, right? And it's real hard when that happens. Although I assume that he's at least got a small dedicated readership. Probably enough to keep him afloat. I mean, there are people who were definitely like campaigning for him during that the legal stuff. He definitely had a small passionate fan base who were with him on that. Alrighty. That'll even out our skin tone a bit, so it's a much more solid. Now I need to think about, yeah, it's a lot. If I did 2 books a year, it would take me 20 years to do that. Okay. So now I want to bring this up a bit, and I'm going to experiment with some mixes. I'm going to grab my mixie brush and go back up here. And I'm going to bring over a couple of brushfuls. I'm going to throw a little bit more skin tone in. and a little bit of white and see what that gives me. And that's going to actually bring it up a bit more where I want it. So again, that pink tone is going to mute it out a little bit. It'll mute out the green. The white I added is going to help to lighten it, and the yellow is going to warm it up a little bit. I like the looks of that for a highlight, so I'm going to play with it. Gonna pop a little water in because I added half a drop of pure white, so I want to make sure that I thin this a bit. Alrighty. Then I'm going to switch to my more beat up DaVinci because her features are so small. So I'm going to switch to a smaller, what essentially is a more narrow, but also, you know, you could say it is a smaller brush. We'll pop this back a little bit. Zoom in again. Yep, okay, Quinny. We're going to highlight the forehead first. Bring up some light there. Do a couple of layers. It's going to be fairly subtle because I want to blend things up so you can see that color there. And then the cheekbone area under the eyes. These eyes are so small. The front of the face is very flat. So you want to highlight that. Her face is good. She's a good rogue. Good rogue pose. The details are very fine. So we're starting to take some of the saturation out of the skin tone as we cover over our base. We can always glaze with our base later if we want to kind of tie things together and increase saturation so that it's not quite as muted, but it really depends, and what it will largely depend on is what other colors I use on this model. And again, I'm planning to put in some reddish and pinkish tones, but I'm going to do the actual skin tone highlight anyway before I bring in those rosy tones. And highlight the jawline. Yeah, this one was a mini of the month, like it came with my order, I think, as I recall. I'm going to darken in the eyes. The eyes are so small. Her hair is likely going to be dark. Say no. Say no. It's not enough time. Not unless you can. You have a life, Laura. Tell them you have a small child and a husband and a everything else that would keep you from being able to meet that time frame. Apologize. Tell them I'd really love to help, but I'm sorry, that's just not enough time to use advanced techniques and finish the model well. Like, the only time I would ever consider that is if I knew I was able to clear the time in my schedule, and they had better be paying me extra for a rush job. I am taking it up away from the green and adding a lot of rosy tones to her skin, but this is what I do this is my half-orc skin tone that I really like, Richard. It's not going to stay this green though. It's already coming up more toward a more organic skin tone. I like to use a mix of what I would consider a full-on orky skin tone and a human skin tone, and then slowly bring it up more toward the human skin tone with the highlights, and then add rosy tones, so that you end up definitely still looking orky, but not as orky. But yeah, I like my orcs green. Judge me if you want. But yeah, you can see how green I started. Now I'm starting to bring up this color, wash it out a bit as I add in pink tones around the nose, mouth, and ears. Yeah, plus you have other things you've committed to, right? It's just like that kind of person, like asking you to do that, like, I don't know. They should expect a no. It's not very considerate. That's someone who doesn't understand the amount of time that using advanced techniques like requires, or the time it would take out of your regular schedule, right? Plus, presumably you have other people you paint for. That person is essentially asking to be jumped up in the line ahead of everyone else, which isn't fair. Yeah, I actually like the green orcs. I like the tendency toward green. I remember when D&D orcs weren't, but I always thought those skin tones were just the weird, most arbitrary crap ever. So. Alright, we're in line. Just want to get some... This is something I usually would do after the base coat, but I got all wrapped up in mixing my next color. Yeah. Well, then that's the thing. Like, why are they trying to frantically find someone who can paint it with advanced techniques? Like, they should have asked before. It's like, it smacks of somebody who's put this off and then suddenly realized that they're in a spot. Like it's a gift or something, right? And as our dog club president likes to say, a lack of preparation or organization on your part does not constitute an emergency on mine. What is the saying? You can get it done. Everybody wants it done fast, good, and cheap. Fast, well, and cheap. You can have 2 of those. But yeah, money's not going to solve the problem if they can't find somebody. And on Fiverr, I would imagine, like, it's double unlikely you're going to find that person because if you're, I imagine on Fiverr, you've actually got a queue of work that comes to you fairly steadily. Who knows, though? Hey there, Roger. Yeah, I wonder if it's a gift for somebody and they've just procrastinated and then suddenly realized that they had no time. I managed to roast a huge batch of maple mustard carrots last night because I knew that I wasn't going to want to use the oven for the next 3 or 4 days because it's going to be so hot. So I have sweet potatoes and fennel. Did you know? This is the weirdest thing ever. A lot of people don't like fennel because of the anise flavor. But a lot of the... oh, I totally need to... There's a little tiny bit of extra material right here that I need to take off. But a lot of people, essentially all the fennel recipes that I'm finding are not like trying to double down on the anise licorice kind of flavor that fennel has. They're trying to disguise it. So essentially the first batch of fennel that I roasted had a thyme and Parmesan and salt and pepper kind of roast. But because of the herbs and the salt and pepper, it tasted, or it smelled exactly like pepperoni pizza in the oven. So much so that David came out and said, "What the heck smells like pepperoni pizza?" You would never think that fennel, of all things, would smell like pepperoni pizza, but it does. Like every time I open, it's the cheese and the herb and the olive oil. Every time I open the package to put it on my plate for lunch, it smells just like pepperoni pizza. And of course, it does not taste like pepper. Well, actually, I mean, with the cheese and everything, it kind of does. But then you get that aniseed hit at the end. So I've decided that people are wrong about how they do fennel in the roasting. I think I need to double down on the anise flavor. And instead, I need to do an Indian one with like garam masala, which often has star anise in it anyway, and totally embrace that flavor. Yeah, I really like fennel. I love it roasted. So yeah, so I totally think I need to go Indian with it. Go curry or garam masala and cinnamon, and just double down, just embrace the licorice after flavor. Because it bothers me with the pepperoni pizza take on it. It totally bothers me that flavor, which I normally really like. I'm a black licorice fan, so anything that tastes like that, I'm okay with usually. It doesn't bug me like a lot of people are bugged by that flavor. However, it does bug me when it's otherwise like got like a cheesy herby olive oil take on it. So I have a second fennel bulb, and I'm gonna do that one. I'm gonna try that one with more of an Indian spices flair, and I think it's gonna work great. So she has lower lids, which a lot of sculptors will sculpt now that they can in 3D, because they can get as small as they need to. And I don't so much mind it on her. I think we might accentuate the redness of that area when we get there. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I can see why you would put it on fennel if you're trying to, like, eat it and make it for your family, though. Like, a lot of people really like this recipe. And I have to think it's because if you're trying to get kids to eat roasted vegetables, making it smell like pepperoni pizza and partially taste like pepperoni pizza is kind of a good thing. But, yeah, I do agree that people put cheese on too many things. Cheese in general. I actually used pecorino instead of Parmesan, because that's what we've got. Alright, we're going to line the mouth. I'm just going to darting around here, trying to correct stuff. There she has tiny little teeth. I'm kicking up the corner of her mouth, trying to kick up the corners of her mouth just a little bit to give her a bit of a smile. Like she's really looking forward to like pummeling this person she's looking at, or monster. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I really like my maple roasted carrots. They're just like candy. Alright, there's a little flake of plastic still there I need to get out. There we go. Alright. Brownish green is okay. This is a brownish green. Good luck painting that bluish sheen that they're describing, though. Alright, now I've lined that. I feel like I can go back to this muscle. Oh, that's funny, Tinker. I love black licorice, so I like that smell and that flavor. But yeah, I love the carrots the most, though. The maple mustard carrots are the best. Although I made a bunch of extra carrots last night, and I should have upped my proportions of my stuff that goes on top of them, I think. And I went a little heavy on the mustard, but oh well. They're still tasty. I should like that. Before Warcraft, there was Warhammer with green orcs, by the way. I don't know what the earliest instance of green orcs would be, though. We'd have to look that one up. I mean, brownish green is still green. Yeah, Warhammer's where it came in. Are you sure, Pendrake? Did you look it up? I thought it might be, but... because Warhammer's been around for actually quite a long time at this point. Warcraft is not the precursor. Warcraft came after Warhammer, so... no. Where did green orcs come from? Why are orcs green? Too much Warcraft stuff. Here's a Reddit thread on it. Let's see. Yeah, Warhammer is what they're saying. Tolkien said gray. Yep, pretty early. Second edition orcs were green. Faerun had always maintained that orcs are gray. Okay, so there's still like there's even earlier references, but some people are saying like some of it could have come from the Green Goblin, which came out that that villain was introduced via comic books in the 1960s. That is the first clear documented popular source in which orcs / goblins are green. But probably it didn't like totally start taking over until Warhammer, is what people are saying, which I could believe. Not true. I mean, goblins and orcs. Tolkien may have created orcs as a thing. Goblins and orcs get mixed together a lot in popular culture, though. I'm sure there was stuff, but essentially the only documented case of a goblinish, orcish humanoid being green is the Green Goblin. And then the Warhammer diverged from Tolkien, which Tolkien-esque stuff has always had variants, and D&D obviously has a range, and it varies by the world, as mentioned in the Forgotten Realms setting. Orcs are supposedly gray, apparently, which is actually Tolkien, very Tolkien. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I could see Warhammer going green because of the Green Goblin, like going green with their goblins and then deciding like making their orcs a different color didn't make sense because orcs and goblins was an army together. And so essentially deciding then, okay, we're going to make our orcs green also so the army, goes together. Who knows? We'd have to talk about one of the original creators and see if they remembered. But most people seem pretty solid that D&D orcs have varied widely over the years, whereas Warhammer orcs have been consistent. And Warcraft pulled heavily from Warhammer when it first started, and then they had to diverge due to copyrights. Yep, there you go. See? There you are. There you are, Inara. 1978 Lord of the Rings, green. So there we go. There's our early, and that could very much have been influenced by the Green Goblin. So D&D giving a range of skin colors there is probably essentially pandering to different fantasy franchises. Because they've got the green, but they've also got like grayish, brownish. So, hey there, Daffodweir. We're talking about when did orcs become green. I'm a fan. Blue doesn't make sense. Nor does purple. And you want them to be something different because they're a non-human race. I think green is a good call. Just lining between the fingers here. Yeah, it depends. I'm very happy with my olivey kind of green because it shifts towards skin tones very easily, like normal human skin tones. And since most of the orcs I'm painting are half-orcs, I like to have the ability to shift that way. I feel like it gives it more of a bit of a realistic vibe. Too much liner on that thumb. most fantasy stuff was influenced heavily by Tolkien. I mean, pretty much everything. I mean, Warhammer, D&D, fantasy fiction, everything very much heavily influenced by Tolkien. Which is why the divergence of orc color is interesting. I like these fingers to be pretty crisp, so I'm using my liner. I'm not a stickler, I just like this color. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong to make your orcs a different color. It's a fantasy race, who cares? We're getting that first layer of highlights on there. Yep, Richard, I agree. Yeah, having variances makes total sense biologically. But yeah, I tend to think that being a stickler about anything in fantasy is kind of silly. It's fantasy. Unless you're trying to specifically stick to the canon of a given game world. Then you can be as stickler as you want. But people who argue with other people about it are very silly. Like, there's no right or wrong in Magic Land. Oh, yeah, for sure, Quindy. Well, witness my blue werewolf. Apparently werewolves can't be blue. Who knew? Speaking of fantasy lands, guys, I picked up a new urban fantasy, or I guess I don't know if it's new. It's new to me. Came up on my Amazon thingies. But it's by the son of Jim Butcher, who did Harry Dresden. I actually like it better than Dresden so far. Although I can see where his dad's advice probably shaped the book. As far as making the main character really weak at the beginning. Which is, if you're doing a progression fantasy, it's the way to grow the story in the world. So I don't mind it so much because I find this character likable. More likable than Dresden. You can go as blue as you want. I won't judge you. Yeah, if that's your jive, Richard Rocket. But you don't lecture people on why they're wrong to paint, their trolls and orcs and goblins different colors. Oh, I've got a little tiny bit. I really sat down and tried to get all of the 3D print stuff off of this model last night. Even though I was really tired. And since I was really tired, I missed a couple bits. There we go. A little bit better. Oh, like Beast from X-Men. Yeah. It's possible. But I like his kids' writing better than his. Let's see. I'll look up the book title. It is... It's by James Butcher. It's called Dead Man's Hand. I like where he's going with his world so far. We'll see if I like the end. It's I like it enough though, and it's fast moving. It's definitely engaging. Like, it has good pacing. The beginning was a little trite. I found like the first chapter a little trite in some ways. But after that, it got better pretty quickly. So it's not like amazing writing, but it's like fast-paced, engaging writing, which is good. And I do like his magical world so far. So we'll see. I'm going to finish this one and see if he's got another one. Paint something blue. Your blue werewolf came about just because you wanted to paint blue. That's fair. So I got a little messy with the lining there, so we're just going to take our olive and come in and kind of re-highlight right next to that. Just to shrink that line right here. You can just paint over part of the line and shrink it down. Yeah, I've never actually met Butcher in person. Yeah, I actually liked Alara better than Dresden Files. I mean, I did give up on Dresden Files really early, and a lot of people are like, but it gets so good later. And I'm like, yeah, but you can't hold me with the first book. I'm going to give up on you. If I don't like your character in the first book, I'm not going to start reading your second book. But yeah, otherwise I don't really, because I didn't like Dresden and because I liked Codex Alara, but he just like totally screwed up the ending. The ending was not what I had hoped for. It was not emotionally satisfying, and so I gave up on it all. Yeah, I know the story about how it came to be, which I think is an excellent way to write, actually. That sort of thing. You know, we want you to mix Pokemon and, you know, X and Y and write a book series. Like, that's an excellent jumping off point. Because, at least for a brain like mine, giving me like that kind of a framework, like the Paladin Werewolf romance, that is a great framework for me to actually like use to start putting together like a story in a world. So I think that that's actually a very cool way, and letting your fans pick the memes or pick the themes, the tropes. I guess I call it that. It would be trope based. Yeah, Lost Roman Legion and Pokemon. Yep. But it's perfectly doable. And it's fun. Like, if you have a brain that loves to spin out ideas, one of the best things you can do to your brain is to give it a framework of some sort and tell it, okay, I want you to ideate, but I want you to only ideate with these things. Roman Legion, Pokemon. Let's go. Because a lot of the times, if you're very imaginative, if you come up with a lot of ideas, it's easy to get lost in the sauce and just like overwhelmed because you have so many ideas. So working from a limited framework like that can be really good, and you can come up with some cool stuff. It's still on my docket. Like, I have the world, like the basics of the world and the kind of the magic system mapped out, Kerniko. Don't worry, you're gonna get this. I'm gonna write it. I even read a book on writing romance. Although I prefer like more clean romance, so. And I've even read a couple of romanticises. Because I think it's going to be a romantasy. I need to play around with it a little bit more. I'm gonna do her brows dark since they are sculpted. I'm gonna use my liner for it. Pretty sure that the werewolf paladin's love interest is a spunky alchemist girl. Oh no, yeah. The reason I want to write it is because you're not putting any pressure on me about it. Yes, I will still write awesome books in the meantime. I don't think those are bad ideas at all. Pokemon is an excellent meme. Like, Pokemon is like who as a kid did not want a magical monster companion? Like, people probably thought it was funny, but it's like there's a reason Pokemon is like wildly popular and remains wildly popular. And part of it is the addictiveness of the game, but part of it is just cute monsters. Cute and cool monsters. So, I mean, I think any author that has a that's strong in ideation. You have to be strong in the strength of ideas, right? You have to be somebody who does really well springboarding off of ideas. But if you are that way and you are a writer, any writer with that strength could come up with something half decent when thrown some random ideas like that. I mean, you just got to figure out how to take those tropes and fit them into a good book. I mean, the goodness of a book isn't about the themes or the tropes. The goodness of the book is about, like, how satisfying is it? How good is your, how good is your storyline? Like, does your character grow? And you can do that with the stupidest of ideas. You wait, I'll write this werewolf paladin fantasy romance, and y'all are going to be like, hey, this isn't terrible. That's my goal. Oh, I missed something. Oh, sweet! Damn, Twisted Oma, that's awesome! Yeah! You go! Yeah, do a happy dance. Get some of that, get some of that blood moving. Happy dance. Even if it's just like the Caddyshack Gopher dance. Or just the in-place happy dance. Like, come on, go for it. Yeah, that's totally awesome. Yeah, let's everybody do a happy dance. Everybody, wherever you are, even if it makes your coworkers look at you at their desk, time to do a happy dance. And then you can explain that a friend of yours is cancer-free. You don't even have to say anything beyond that. That's enough of a happy dance. That'll excuse you to your boss. Nobody's going to yell at you for happy dancing for 5 seconds about that. All right. We've got lining. I love it. Makes SSC do the happy dance. Yay! Tiny cat happy dance. Tiny cat happy dance has got to be the best. Even Kiki's like coming into, she's like, what are you so happy about, Mommy? I can't make Kiki do the happy dance. She'll get too excited and want to nom on me. Too many teeth come out. Keeks, that was just something falling on our roof. It's okay. Yeah. What's up? Yeah, you want to come in and do the happy dance? I don't think I can make you do the happy dance for the camera. I don't know if you'll get up on my lap. Will you get up on my lap? Will you? Hey, Bubba. Oh, Bubba. Hey, you. Will you get up on my lap? Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Yay! Kiki sighting for you, Twisted Oma. I can't make her do the happy dance because she'll slip. But I can give you a leany Kiki face. Oh, hi, leany Kiki face. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Yes, I love it when you do that. Yes, I love it. Oh, it's such a leaner. Oh, I've got a leany Kiki. Oh, now you want to eat the lotion off my hands, you dork. You dork. You dork. What a dork you are. Yeah, Keekers, we're going to have to, like, get you out on your walk, like, pronto after I get off of here because it's probably already really hot. Already 77. Keekers is going to want a super fast walk today. A short one. Alrighty. We have about 15 minutes, so I want to do one more highlight. So let's do, we're kind of keeping with what we had before. I'm going to try to duplicate. Well, that's because that's because I brought the house down really low temp last night. I have a trick because I don't have AC in our, but I mean, plenty of places are hotter than here. I mean, Texas is hotter than here for sure. But with no AC, we have to bring the house temp down as much as we can because it's going to hit 90. 90 with no AC is kind of annoying. All right, so we're going to do another drop and another small drop of this. We do have our AC. David set up the AC in the bedroom last night. All right, let's see how this goes. So that's going to make it much more fleshy colored. And this is going to be a very good transition color for those rosy tones because I can take this and make it rosy pretty easily. Yeah, that's too bad. Hyper Bunny. Conventions be like that. Whether a convention, like how a convention treats its guests, like really depends on the people they have trying to like wrangle that part of the program. And how many resources they're given. But that's kind of stupid. All right, so we're bringing in that lighter color. One thing I do need to do is bring in more shadows on this face. So after this layer of highlighting, probably next time we do this mini, I will need to bring in some shadow. So those are starting. Classic English, yep. Going to get a little bit here on the lower jaw. I'm going to kind of frame that area. You want that jaw to stand out next to the shadow that's usually right under it. Yeah, I think the worst thing you can do as a famous person is believe your own press. If I ever become famous, I'm going to strive to maintain my normalcy. Which is just another way to say that famous people can become a little odd. I hope never to be that person. That's great, Kerniko, that you're rebuilding your painting mojo. That's fantastic. My mom is getting impatient with her physical therapy. I'm like, come on, Mom. It's better than before the surgery. Keep at it. She has very sharp cheekbones. Probably de-emphasize that a little bit as we move forward, but not quite yet. It's pretty good highlights there on the face now, though. The features are standing out well. I'm going to actually mix some of my green and my liner color to get kind of a dark olive. And I'm going to shade underneath the jawline and in the neck, shadow of the neck there. There we go. I'd touch up a little dwarf there. But yeah, David liked this sculpt. When he looked at it. Hey, Albafason. Wow, long time no see. 54-month resub. Thank you. We really appreciate it. How have you been? I'm gonna add a highlight up here in the next bit. So I'm on my second day of almost no sugar. I'm expecting the brain to rebel on me at any moment. I think it's already starting. I am using all of my personal development tools to attempt to deal with it. We shall see how it goes. It gets to go back to eating like badly next weekend briefly, because we're going to be doing our Shakespeare thing. Yeah, working life and stuff. We get it. We know. You're always welcome back, though. And tonight is CrossFit. Oh, guys, I found if you're looking for a way to reduce sugar, but you like things like fruity yogurts, Chobani, I just actually picked up like their zero, Chobani Zero. It's like their zero sugar version. And I expected it to be full of erythritol or something when I picked it up in the store, which I can't do anymore. But it was actually just like stevia and monk fruit and a little bit of allulose, which is actually a healthy, naturally derived sweetener. So I was pleasantly surprised, and they have a whole bunch of different flavors. I'm looking forward to nomming one down later today. And lower calories, but I can still have something tasty for a snack. I used to eat a lot of yogurt when I was a kid. When I went low carb, I went off of it because it often is just loaded with sugar. But you know what, Kerniko? After I realized that really it's because I had to get to the bottom of my why. Like, why do I recklessly, stress eat? Why do I do this? Why do it, why? And I had determined that it was just the part of my brain that when I was a kid, having sweet foods was when I was happy and safe and, was generally like, I was in a good place when that happened. And so that when stress hits, that's what my brain is seeking. It just wants the food to cope like it always had. And since I've recognized that, really, really recognized it, it's easier because I just imagine that part of myself kind of as a separate part of me. Yes, this is totally multiple personality disorder. Weight loss through multiple personality. But being able to look at that and go, that's just the little kid Anne who just like wants to feel better right now. And so they want a cookie because they think they're just going to die if they don't get one. And it's actually helped a lot. Like, I'm vigilant for it. Like, before I would keep going and I would just be like, I'm going to get cravings. But when I did that, it felt like my body was against me. And it's really not your body. It's your brain. It's just a little part of your brain that's like, oh, this is bad. We shouldn't be losing weight. We're going to starve. Like we're going to starve in today's America. The way we are. But yeah, so just kind of like personalizing it and giving it a little face and a name actually is helping me a lot, because then it's not me that's working against myself anymore, right? It's one little part of the brain that doesn't understand that us losing weight is going to lead to us being happier and healthier and living longer and having a better quality of life, right? Yeah, that's too bad if you're, but you can like look for other stuff, right? If you're really bothered by the texture, although I find that they vary. They really vary, Quindy. Like, some of them are quite firm and some of them are more creamy. Very nice, Hyper. Very good. Nice, Laura. Awesome. Awesome weight loss journeys. Yes, everyone. Yes. Keep going. Keep going. Be your healthiest you. That way you can be in my chat forever. Well, okay, as forever as I can get. I'm not sure, Sanshobo. That's a Reaper Live question, probably. Bone 6 is not even shipped yet, right? So, So usually, Sanshobo, they won't put the minis in stores until the Kickstarter has completely shipped. And even then, they're selective on like what comes out in the first year, as I recall. Yeah, the honest answer is just we don't know. Since Bone Sticks hasn't even shipped yet, it's not going to be until after that. And after that, Reaper usually has a release schedule where they will release a few minis, but not all of them make it. Not all of them necessarily make it. Like, there's still stuff. Yeah, they're still releasing Bones 5. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. Yeah, so if you're looking for a specific model, chances are you're going to have to wait a bit unless you get lucky. Bones 4 took 3-ish years for all of them to come to retail. Bones 5 is still not fully out. Yep. That's good, Kerniko. Yeah, don't weigh yourself if you think it's just going to be... Sometimes weighing yourself is, like, demoralizing, so you don't have to turn to the scale. I'm doing measuring inches for most of it. I'll still step on the scale every 2 weeks. Because the scale has betrayed me many times over the past years, and so I don't trust it. So we can see how, as we add in that highlight, we're getting more away from the green, right? This arm versus that. And so how we decide to pull this, like we could pull this highlight, this skin tone either way. If we glaze with like skin tone, we can pull this up away from the green and make it more of this like brownish, greenish flesh tone color. And if we say glaze with our original skin tone color, then we can knock it down back toward the realm of green skin. And you could go either way. And since we're and really going either way is easy because we're building our highlights by using this skin tone. Yeah, it's always a boost with inches for me. Like I can be a happy Ann if I'm not losing any weight, but I'm losing inches, like when I first started CrossFit. I'm listening to a lot of nutrition science lately. And longevity science. And it's really clarified some stuff for me about how I eat and things like that, so. Yeah, they're working on reducing turnaround time, making more and more in-house instead of importing them. However, there will still be a lag window. Yep. Yeah, because we can't release 300 models, all at once. Like, Reaper doesn't do that. Distribution can't handle that. So, if only for the distribution chain, we have predictable numbers of new releases every month. All right, well, I need to finish highlighting everything with this color. Then I need to make a swatch card. Well, if she thinks you need a dietitian, she may be right. It all depends. Because sometimes it'd be like that if you have like a lot of baggage around food. I know I have baggage around food, but I'm working through it on my own. There we go. Okay. Now this other arm and we'll be good. The ones that the horseflies can't bite through, yes. That's a laudable goal. I just really want to be able to do more at CrossFit class. And losing some weight is going to make everything easier at CrossFit. Because I do okay. but like just like things like pull-ups and stuff would feel so much more attainable if I wasn't trying to lift 180 pounds. So you got those muscles. It's all coming together. I'm going to try to blend in this in a little bit. Got our nice musculature standing out. Yep. Okie dokie. A little bit of highlight down here, and then we'll call it Quindy. Yeah, I want to get Kiki out on her walk before it gets too hot. It's already going to be 80 probably when we get out there. But we'll do a short walk, and we'll stay in the shade for most of it. Alrighty. There we go, guys. We've got our skin tones set up. We'll probably go up one more level. But that's pretty good. Now, since we are using a non-human skin tone, oh, and I'll put in the rosy, probably shadows and rosy tones next time, and one more highlight. But because we're using a non-human skin tone, that means that our first color is green for our color scheme. So we have to work everything else around this skin tone. And that is going to limit us a bit more. Because normally skin tones read more like neutrals, and this is not a neutral. So it's taking up one of our color slots in our color scheme. So we will, moving forward, we'll be working with this to figure out a color scheme for the rest of the model. Yeah, I like it. I like it. It's working. She's a nice clean model with some good detailing. Tomorrow, for Wednesday, we are back on Halfling. And I think I'm going to do the shield. The shield is bugging me. The shield is totally bugging me. But he's like almost like, look at how fast. Like he's almost done. Like seriously, like we'll put more highlights on him, but like we don't really have to. Like he's almost done. It's kind of crazy how fast when you use this technique. Once you start putting colors on, it gets insanely fast. Oh, nice. I wish she made them bigger than 32 millimeter, Trashorama. Yep. No problem, Slayer. Oh, yawn. I felt like I needed another half hour of sleep this morning and I did not get it. Yeah, we'll catch you later. Anything? I forget if there's anything on Tuesdays, but if there is, then great. If not, then I'll catch you guys tomorrow. All right? Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Quindy, for being our stream queen as always, and I will see you guys tomorrow, all right? Bye-bye.